Everybody, Ron here for the Top Club this week. Ashley is still off doing other important things for the health department, so you've got me again. And well, suddenly I feel like there are a bunch of people behind staring at me. It's kind of spooky. There are people behind me staring, and it looks, let's see, what are they doing there? Oh, it looks like they're having a Thanksgiving dinner. And they look happy. Most of the time when I was growing up, my parents were such terrible cooks. I'd rather be hiding underneath the Thanksgiving table than sitting there trying to eat what was on it. But it's the meaning of the event that's important. And we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of food. And everybody knows how important food is, especially if you're hooked on double bacon cheeseburgers, like some people we know, including myself. The reason why we make a big deal about Thanksgiving, does anybody know? Was it to celebrate those little pilgrim guys in their funny looking clothes when they first came here and had dinner with Native Americans way back when, for thanks of surviving harsh winter and being able to make friends and survive? Well, probably true. Thanksgiving is a dinner time when we have family together to celebrate the importance of family tradition. You know, unfortunately this year, again, because of the COVID thing, you're probably not going to have that big family dinner. If you do, it's going to be kind of really risky. You know, try to keep it in your immediate family group. Having too many people over in a little tight room for more than half an hour could cause quite a few people to get probably sick. And we don't want to have people sick on the holidays. We don't want to go over the river and through the woods to put grandma in the hospital. So be careful, and hopefully you can have a fun Thanksgiving. And I want to talk about a little bit about the importance of food. Why is food important? Well, when we share food, it's survival. In fact, if you go back to tribal days, you know, food was probably the most valuable thing anybody could come across. You go back to the caveman guys, and even today where people are hunters and gatherers, food is critically an essential part of just staying alive, and therefore it is the most valued resource a person has. So we're going to take a little look at a pretty cool little slideshow I have here for you about food throughout the world, because we know what we eat at Thanksgiving. We know why we get together at Thanksgiving. But let's see how much people around the world could actually spend on food and what kind of meals they might have if they had a feast or something like Thanksgiving. I think you'll find this quite interesting. So let me go ahead and pop that up for you here. Hopefully. And there we go. Culture and food. Necessity, taboo, or preference. Kind of an auspicious title for something. So we have what's called the social function of food. Food can be used for all kinds of things. It can be used as a gift, creating alliances between people. How many of girlfriends bring boyfriends over for a big family dinner to introduce them at that point to their parents? Yes, indeed. Maybe a future marriage alliance in there for somebody. Or how many people who have boogles of money try to have people who don't have boogles of money over to let them eat a dinner that costs boogles of money so that they can make themselves feel boogly important. Yes, indeed. So social prestige and other things can also go with a dinner. And again, food, a gift. How many people give gift as food for Christmas? Little gift baskets, those other things that you get in the stores, which have stuff to make cookies and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. And then in some places, you know, even political leaders, instead of kissing babies, get votes by handing out donuts. That's true. So generosity is important when it comes to food. All right. Let's take a look at what people eat throughout the world. And again, I think you're going to find this really, really cool and how much they spend on it. Here we have a family in Germany, the Melander family of Barktheide. And they spend about $500 or 500 of their dollars, euros, a week on food. Good grief. I don't know if we spend that much. And as you can see on the table, that stuff is the kind of food that they have. And it looks like they've got quite a bit of meats and definitely looks like some alcoholic beverages in the front, cheeses, a lot of protein kind of stuff, but a lot of stuff, very fresh looking stuff. Now, if they were going to have like a Thanksgiving dinner, what would they have? Club sandwiches and bottled water? I don't know, with a asparagus stick or something to chew on, and pretzels. But they spend quite a bit of money on their food. In fact, they're on the top of the list here, right above us. Here we have a family, the Rivas family from North Carolina, and you can see what Americans like to eat usually. Excuse me. Now, that doesn't look anything like the dinner sitting behind me here, but you've got pizzas, pops, looks like some kind of scatterings of Italian food sauces, Burger King, ramen noodles, an occasional vegetable or something healthy sitting there somewhere on the table. They're kind of hard. Some red meats, and excuse me again, and lots of potato chips. And an average expenditure of about $341 a week on food for a family of 4 here in America. Oh, now we're taking a trip down to Italy. And here we have a family of 5. The Monza family of Sicily. They spend about $260 a week on, or euros a week on their food. And, we talk about Italian food. Does that look like Italian food we eat? Where's the pasta and the pizza and the Subway stuff with meatballs in it? I see a lot of bread. I see some bananas, some other kinds of tomatoes and fruits and meats and the like. Well, believe it or not, a lot of people in Italy, they live on very simple kind of foods. They live on breads and sliced meats and fruit and, pasta dinners and that, like we're familiar, is quite a bit of that is Americanized Italian food. So here's what they have here, and they look kind of happy with their loaves of bread. I'm not sure that makes me feel like diving into dinner, but I guess that's the way it is. Well, let's move on. We'll go to Mexico, and there we go. Chilies, fruits, smiling people, lots of pop. You leave the United States and Coca-Cola is more plentiful than water. In fact, when I lived in Africa, you could buy a bottle of Coca-Cola for 5 cents anywhere you went because the government subsidized it, not water. Well, I mean, you need water to live on. Coca-Cola makes you, I guess, a little satisfies your thirst, but makes you even more thirsty when you think about it. So, you have things that could be put in there into some nice spicy sauces and a lot of, like I said, pot and stuff that you could have to make a pretty nice dinner. 189 pesos is not really all that much, and $189, but still, we're talking about a more well-to-do Mexican family. The Casal family that you see here from Cuernavaca is better because there are a lot of people in Mexico who will make less than $1 a day, and they're certainly not going to be able to have that kind of house, that kind of spread on their table. Oops. And here we're with a Polish family, and there's no way on earth I'm going to try to pronounce that name. We'll just call it the S family. and they use Zlotys for money, and they spend about $151 a month on food, and you can see there are similarities between what the Schwatzkys got and what the people in Germany have, except not as much in the way of meats and stuff. And unless they're going to eat that big stuffed elephant there in the corner, they don't really have a lot of meat on the table, but a lot of fresh fruits. Looks like some bread there somewhere, some potatoes, some canned foods, and the like. But again, pretty healthy looking stuff. I mean, you don't see a lot of pre-made stuff in Europe and those places. People have to really go out and get the raw ingredients and put it together. We're kind of spoiled here in America. We go into the supermarket and everything's already prepared. Which makes Thanksgiving one of the kind of special dinners for us anyhow, because then people really have to learn how to cook for a little bit. Yeah. Oh, now we're with the Ahmed family in Cairo, Egypt. And there, see how much money you can spend a week on food? It keeps going down and down. And the families get bigger and bigger and bigger. That's a whole army of people there looking at a couple of watermelons and some peppers. And most of that would be ground down into like a hummus kind of paste that you dunk pieces of bread into and eat out of a communal bowl. But again, for a family that can afford to eat in Egypt, and it's becoming, there are fewer and fewer families every day that can afford to eat in Egypt. Lots of fresh vegetables and fruits and things for them to turn into some kind of some kind of a feast, what they would have for whatever holiday they would have. Ooh, now we go to Ecuador, which is down down in South America. I get $131 a week spent on food, and you can see here we're dealing with a lot of, looks like rice and meals and some bananas that look like they sat out in the sun for 17 weeks before they decided to buy them. It's like maybe some leeks on the side or Swiss chard or something, and a lot of people to feed on, rice and a few vegetables. That seems to be, as you get into more third world country stuff, the kind of realities. What kind of feast would these people have on a holiday like Thanksgiving? So I am told that people down there eat guinea pigs. Yum, roast guinea pig. I wonder if they put an olive in its mouth instead of a tomato or apple like we do roasted pigs here. But who knows? Ooh, and then we go to the Namge family out in Bhutan, which is up near the Himalaya mountains. And we got like a gazillion people in the room, and they get to spend a whole $5 a week on food. $5. Now they get a lot of food there for $5, but I mean, my gosh, it's a big giant sack of rice that kid's got his dirty hands in on the on the right, and a few fruits and vegetables and that. So there too are going to be mainly a rice staple food with a few little add-ons in the course of a week. So it's pretty bleak. Weak. I wonder what they would do for a Hershey bar. And then, unfortunately, we get to the African countries like Chad, and here we have a family of people and would be a refugee camp. This was saying would be if it was Chad or Somalia or any of those West African countries, East African countries. Very, very sad living conditions. They don't have 15 containers of Pepsi Cola. They got one, and probably thankful with all their hearts for that one thing of bottled water sitting there. Looks like some rice and maybe some barley or some other kind of grain, and a couple of limes and whatever else they have in the front, and grateful to be having that, just to be alive, because so many people in the world are starving. So you look at that family and you wonder, or maybe I should ask that question. It, what would their Thanksgiving dinner be like with what they have? What would be the true meaning of it for them? Would it be different than what we have with ours? Do we take our foods for granted? Or do they covet every morsel of food that comes their way? Oh, so why don't we go ahead and make that uh, one of the questions for this week, and then the other, if you mentally took a snapshot of everything that you saw in this video, which country would you prefer to live in for the type of food you saw being out on their table? Would it be Germany, Poland, Mexico, Bhutan, Ecuador, uh, Chad here? I mean, if you were really on a good diet, Chad would be just a fine place to be. The United States, which one? I'd be really curious to see, because everybody's food appeals differently to all kinds of different people. And here we're back again at our dinner table, and again, probably, what do you think, 40 or 50, 60, $70 for food there, maybe more if you have the desserts thrown in, maybe $100. And people in Chad get $1.23 a week. We could have like a half a year's worth of food almost for what they have in a week. So yes, food is important. Food keeps us together. It's a social glue. It's used for, again, all kinds of alliances. And one other thing, according to some people, because the turkey is the most valued part of the Thanksgiving Day dinner, the person who cuts the turkey is the most valued member of the family. There are some anthropologists who believe that whoever carves the turkey wields true power in the household. The one bird, the one big meat of the year. The power, the dominance, the control. So look very carefully this Thanksgiving and see who's cutting the turkey. Is it mom, dad, grandma, grandpa? See who's really in charge. And you could share that with us too. We really think that'd be kind of a lot of fun. Okay, well, I've enjoyed talking about food today, and it's made me darn hungry, and I'm nowhere near dinner time yet, so I'm just gonna sit and stare at the wall, and maybe try to see if I can find somebody else who's got some candy somewhere, and see if I can rob maybe a candy off them or something, or ask them for them. And I hope you have a wonderful holiday. Next week we won't be doing one because it will be holiday week, and again, I'm going to look forward, like always, to being with you guys, and look forward to your answers. And your answers on laughter, or some of them were pretty darn right on. And yes, there was a horse laughing one. I don't remember the name of the person who wrote it, but you nailed that one. And just take care and be safe this holiday. Be smart, be safe. And that's all anybody can ask of anybody. So take good care, and we'll see you soon.